What happened in the Supreme Court chamber didn't just make headlines. It cracked the very foundation of how America sees power. Because in under 30 minutes, the Chief Justice of the United States went from untouchable authority to a red-faced, trembling man screaming on national television, and the person who put him there. A 43-year-old freshman congresswoman from Texas named Jasmine Crockett. The confrontation was live. The reaction was instant. Her calm, blistering response has already been called the political moment of the decade. This wasn't just another partisan fight. This was generational, cultural, historical collision between old power and new truth. And once you see what Crockett said, and how Chief Justice Roberts cracked under pressure, you'll understand why millions of Americans are now asking the same question: what if someone like her was always meant to lead? Let's break it down. It was supposed to be a routine oversight hearing, but the moment Chief Justice John Roberts sees the most powerful judge in the country walked into that hearing room uninvited, everyone knew something wasn't right. He wasn't on the witness list. He didn't come with staff. He came alone, and he came angry. What set him off? A congressional review of the Supreme Court's latest ruling, one that effectively eliminated federal protections for minors seeking reproductive care. The backlash was immediate and bipartisan. The language used in the decision had been called cold, callous, even cruel. And into that firestorm walked Jasmine Crockett, an attorney, a congresswoman, and a woman who had lived through the very policies the court was now reshaping. Roberts sat down with that unmistakable smirk of entitlement. You could see it in the way he adjusted his tie, glanced sideways, nodded like a man expecting softball questions. He had no idea the woman across from him wasn't just another politician. She was about to make history. The tension built slowly at first. Crockett was calm, professional, surgical. She asked about polling that showed the Supreme Court had hit its lowest approval rating in history. Roberts gave his classic line, "We interpret the Constitution, not the polls." But Crockett didn't blink. She leaned in. Funny how that interpretation always seems to match one political party's agenda. Voting rights, reproductive rights, corporate power, every time. The Chief Justice's jaw twitched. Then she hit him again. Let's talk precedent. How does forcing a 14-year-old rape victim to carry a pregnancy serve children's welfare? Boom. Roberts tried to stay composed, but his voice started rising. That's a gross mischaracterization of our ruling, and that's when Crockett cut through him like a scalpel. So when it's your daughter, it's personal. But when it's a poor girl in Texas, it's constitutional. Got it. The silence in that room was suffocating. You could see the blood draining from Roberts' face, but he wasn't done digging. He looked her in the eye and said, "Congresswoman, perhaps you should leave complex legal matters to those who understand them." Translation: belong here, but Crockett. Oh, she didn't flinch. She smiled, not kindly, not politely, but with that cold, steady confidence of a trial attorney who sees the win before the jury even deliberates. "Chief Justice," she said, "how many courtroom trials have you handled personally? Because I've tried hundreds. I've stood beside teenagers in courtrooms who were failed by systems you helped design." And then she asked the question that broke Roberts. "Do you have daughters?" His answer didn't matter. Because what came next destroyed every ounce of moral high ground he had left. Now imagine one of them, 14 years old, pregnant from rape. Under your ruling, depending on the state, she'd be forced to carry that child. Are you proud of that decision? Roberts tried to respond. He couldn't. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Then finally, in front of the world, he snapped. He stood up, violently, nearly knocked over his chair. His face flushed deep red, his voice cracking with rage. "How dare you?" he screamed. "How dare you bring my family into this? You are a disgrace to Congress." Security flinched. Cameras zoomed in, and Jasmine Crockett. She just sat there, unbothered, hands folded. Calm. He wasn't done. "You think you understand the law? You don't. Have the experience? You don't have the intellect? You don't have the right?" Then he said it, the 7 words that would end his career. "Someone like you will never understand this." The chamber went silent. Not quiet, dead silent. Because every person in that room, every person watching at home, Knew exactly what someone like you meant. Young, black, female, unapologetic. Crockett didn't yell. She didn't cry. She leaned forward slowly, adjusted the mic, and said something so calm, so devastating, it echoed louder than his scream. Chief Justice Roberts, thank you. You just proved every point I came here to make. And then she went, in for the kill. You couldn't answer my questions, so you attacked my intelligence. You couldn't justify harming real children, so you questioned my qualifications. And when all else failed, you screamed like a child denied his favorite toy. Then, with surgical grace, let me remind you, I graduated top of my class. I've defended children in court. I've represented scared teenagers who couldn't afford a lawyer. I've been elected to represent millions of Americans. And then, the mic drop moment. You were appointed by a president who lost the popular vote, confirmed by senators who represent a minority of Americans, and you've never tried a case in your life. So when you ask if I understand the law, I understand it better than you ever will. The video exploded. Hashtag someone like you, hash Roberts Rage, hash Jasmine Clapback. Over 2 million tweets in an hour. Millions of shares, TikToks, Reels, late-night segments. Oprah tweeted, "This is what leadership looks like." Justice Sandra Day O'Connor issued a public rebuke. I have never seen such inappropriate temperament from a judicial officer, and even Republican senators like Susan Collins called the incident deeply disturbing. Meanwhile, donations to Crockett's campaign? Over $2.3 million in 48 hours. College campuses invited her to speak. Book deals. Documentary offers. But she turned the spotlight back to the people. I didn't go to that hearing to go viral, she said. I went to speak truth. But it wasn't just a viral moment. It changed the way America talks about power law. Schools began using the clip to teach courtroom poise. Boardrooms coined the phrase Crockett moment to describe when junior employees challenge executives with composure and facts. Churches preached about it. Teenagers quoted her and voter. Registration among young people? Up 340% in 1 month. Roberts eventually issued a lukewarm statement, no real apology, just damage control. Crockett's reply. Actions matter more than words. If he truly regrets his behavior, he'll recuse himself from every case involving people he's shown bias against. If not, this is just spin. 6 months later, the legacy is clear. Crockett didn't just win an argument. She revealed the rot beneath the robes. She didn't just speak up. She showed every person watching, especially young women of color, that you don't have to shrink in the presence of power. Because sometimes, it's the most powerful person in the room. It's the one who refuses to raise their voice. And America was watching, still is, and demanding more leaders just like her.